Dear students, today we are going to talk about hybridoma technology. So, hybridoma technology is a technology to produce monoclonal antibodies. Now, before going into the details of this technology, we should understand that what are monoclonal antibodies and why they are important for us, and how they are different from polyclonal antibodies. Now, definition wise, monoclonal antibodies are those antibodies which act against uh, one, one single species of antigen. Okay, but polyclonal antibodies are those antibodies which can act against multiple antigens. Now, the difference between monoclonal antibody and polyclonal antibody is like this. Number one, a monoclonal antibody is a single antibody species. Single antibody species, that means it can act against a single species of antigen. Whereas polyclonal antibodies are a mixed population of antibodies. That means the antibodies in that group can act against mixed population of antigens. Second difference is the monoclonal antibody binds to single specific site of target molecule, but polyclonal antibodies bind to different sites of target molecule. That means what? The polyclonal antibodies are not very specific to a particular structure of the protein molecule, whereas monoclonal antibodies are very specific to the structure of protein molecule. Third difference is monoclonal antibodies recognize particular protein form, but polyclonal antibodies, they are tolerant of small changes in protein structure. That means the antigen, if it possesses a slight change, then polyclonal antibodies can act against it, but monoclonal antibodies cannot act against it. And because of these reasons, the fourth difference is monoclonal antibodies produce strong immune response, whereas polyclonal antibodies do not produce that much strong immune response. They produce weak immune response. And fifth difference is monoclonal antibodies are expensive to produce because we have to follow a detailed procedure, whereas polyclonal antibodies are cheap to produce. In spite of all the differences, monoclonal antibodies are very useful for us because they act against one particular set of antigens and they produce a very strong immune response. So, because of that, the monoclonal antibodies are required to be produced in large amounts. Now, in large amounts production, we have to follow some technology, and that technology is hybridoma technology. So, next we will go to some history about the hybridoma technology. This technology was developed by George Kohler and Cesar Milstein in 1975, and they were awarded Nobel Prize for this discovery in 1984. What they did was that they hybridized antibody producing B lymphocyte with myeloma cells to create a hybridoma. Hybridoma literally means a hybrid tumor cell which is growing indefinitely, but it does not produce its own antibodies. It produces the proteins of or antibodies of B lymphocyte. So that's why here the myeloma cells are cancerous B cells, and they have the property to divide indefinitely. Normally, the normal B lymphocytes have very short lifespan. Even though they are required to get the antibodies to fight against antigens, but since they have very short lifespan, the supply of antibodies is limited. To overcome this problem, the hybridoma technology has been devised. Now, on what principle this technology works? It has two components. First, the myeloma cells must not be capable of synthesizing their own antibodies. Okay, that means what? We are hybridizing two different cells into one hybrid cell. Now, what are the two different cells? One is a myeloma cell and another one is a normal B lymphocyte. Why do we want both of them to be hybridized? Because we want the character of producing antibody of a normal B lymphocyte, and also the lifespan of B lymphocyte should be very long, so that we can have continuous supply of that antibody. But normal B lymphocytes don't have very long lifespan. So we are taking the character of myeloma cells. Myeloma cells are those cancerous cells which keep on dividing, and they can give rise to indefinite number of cells. So we are taking the character of myeloma cells to divide indefinitely, but the myeloma cells should not produce their own antibodies. They should produce the antibody of normal B lymphocyte. Okay, that is the successful hybrid cell. And the second part of the principle is, once we get that hybrid cell, then we have to select. So the selection of hybridoma cells is based on inhibiting the nucleotide synthesizing machinery. Now, on the basis of what we will select a particular hybridoma cell from a myeloma cells or a normal B lymphocyte? We select them on the basis of inhibiting their nucleotide synthesizing machinery. Nucleotide synthesizing machinery is the pathway by which a cell produces its DNA, and once DNA is produced, the cell will undergo division. So we inhibit the pathway by which the cell produces DNA. So before going into the detail, we should know what are those pathways for DNA production. For DNA production or nucleotide synthesis, there are two methods. Number one is de novo synthesis. De novo means new, and synthesis means to make. So de novo synthesis is the synthesis of complex molecules, here nucleotides, from simple molecules like sugar and amino acids. De novo pathways of nucleotides do not use free bases, means they use simple molecules as their raw materials to make nucleotides. And once nucleotides are made, the DNA is made. But there is one more pathway in a normal cell which is called salvage pathway, and in this pathway the nucleotides are synthesized from intermediates in the degradative pathway for nucleotides. So what does this mean? The intermediates of degradative pathway means the old DNA, once it is degraded into its nucleotides. Now these nucleotides can be reused these nucleotides can be reused to make new strands of DNA. And this way of reusing the old molecules of DNA to make new molecules of DNA is the salvage pathway. Okay, that is why the name is salvage pathway. Salvage means to save the old nucleotides. Now, a normal cell can make its nucleotides by both the methods. Okay. Then what happens in the hybrid cells? So before going into that, I want to say one more term, that is HAT medium. HAT medium stands for hypoxanthine, aminopterin and thymidine. These three compounds are mixed together to make a culture medium called HAT medium. This medium is used to select hybridoma cells. So coming on to the next part. Here there is a diagrammatic representation of pathways of nucleotide synthesis. Now see carefully that here there is a compound dihydrofolate, which is an intermediate compound made up of simple molecules. Simple molecules means sugars and amino acids. Normally this dihydrofolate is converted into tetrahydrofolate. Normally, forget the aminopterin for the time being. The normal pathway is dihydrofolate will convert into tetrahydrofolate, and this tetrahydrofolate along with the precursors of DNA molecule, it will make the new nucleotides. Okay, these new nucleotides will give rise to new strands of DNA. So this way of making DNA is called de novo synthesis. But as I told you, there is one more way to make the DNA, that is salvage pathway. What does the salvage pathway do? That it takes the help of HGPRT enzyme. This is a particular enzyme which is required to use the old degraded nucleotides along with hypoxanthine to make new nucleotides. And these nucleotides are purines. Purines means adenine and thymine. Whereas one more enzyme is there, TK, thymidine kinase. This enzyme takes the help of thymidine and uses the old degraded nucleotides to make new nucleotides. In this case, this makes pyrimidines. So purines, as I told you, adenine and not thymine, it is guanine, adenine and guanine, whereas TK, thymidine kinase, makes thymine and cytosine. Okay, so this enzyme makes pyrimidines and this enzyme makes purines. Both these enzymes make using salvage pathway to make new nucleotides and make new strands of DNA. Now what are these HGPRT stands for? HGPRT is nothing but hypoxanthine guanine phosphoriosyl transferase. This is for purine production, whereas TK is thymidine kinase for pyrimidines production. So here the salvage pathway uses hypoxanthine and thymidine to make new nucleotides and make DNA with the help of two enzymes. One is HGPRT, another one is TK. This method also can give rise to new DNA. So these are the two pathways to synthesize nucleotides. Then what happens? Once we get the hybrid cells by mixing the myeloma cells and B lymphocytes, then we have to separate the actual hybrid cells. Now in the culture plate, all the three cells, different types of cells will be there. Some cells will be unfused myeloma cells, and some will be unfused B lymphocytes, normal B lymphocytes. But some will be hybrid cells having the character of both myeloma cells and B lymphocytes. Now, to select that hybrid cell, we use the method called HAT selection. HAT medium, I told you, it is a mixture of hypoxanthine, aminopterin and thymidine. In HAT medium, the myeloma cells cannot grow because they lack HGPRT gene. They lack HGPRT gene means they cannot use salvage pathway for making new DNA. Clear? Now what is the way for them to make new DNA? De novo pathway. As I showed you in the last paper, here you see, if the salvage pathway is blocked because the myeloma cells lack HGPRT, then they can synthesize the DNA only with de novo synthesis. But in HAT medium, I am providing aminopterin. What this aminopterin does, it blocks the conversion of dihydrofolate into tetrahydrofolate. So there is a shortage of tetrahydrofolate, and so the de novo synthesis also does not work. So what will happen? The myeloma cells cannot grow in HAT medium. Why? Because inherently they lack HGPRT gene, and I am blocking the de novo synthesis by adding aminopterin. So none of the pathways is available for myeloma cells to grow. So they die after some time in the HAT medium. Now what happened to normal B cells? Unfused normal B cells, they can grow because they have the HGPRT gene. Even though we have blocked the de novo pathway by adding aminopterin, the normal B cells can grow because they have HGPRT gene, and so they can make new nucleotides by salvage pathway. But the problem with B lymphocytes is that they have a very short lifespan. They cannot grow because of their limited lifespan. Okay, so after a few days, say 7 or 10 days, in the culture, normal B lymphocytes will grow for some time, but they will eventually all die because their lifespan is not longer. What will remain in the culture plate is only hybridoma cells. Why? Because they possess both characters. The character of myeloma cells to grow indefinitely, and the character of having HGPRT from the normal B lymphocytes with which they are fused. So they will grow by making new nucleotides through salvage pathway. Even hybridoma cells cannot make nucleotides by de novo pathway because the medium is containing aminopterin. But hybridoma cells get the HGPRT gene from the normal B lymphocytes and make nucleotides by salvage pathway. So they keep on growing. And since they have their own capability to grow indefinitely because they are coming from the myeloma cells, they keep on growing in the culture medium. And that is how after some days we will have only hybridoma cells growing in the HAT medium. Okay. Now once we know how the HAT medium works, then I am coming to the steps of monoclonal antibody production. Now here you see the first step is immunization. That is immunization of the animal which is going to be used to produce the hybridoma cells. So first the animal is immunized with appropriate antigen which stimulates production of B lymphocytes. These lymphocytes are separated by density gradient centrifugation. Remember this process? Density gradient centrifugation. This helps us to separate the B lymphocytes from the animal's glands. Now, once we separate the B lymphocytes, then we go for the second step, that is cell fusion. That is, the lymphocytes and the myeloma cells are mixed. So, the mixture of lymphocytes and HGPRT deficient myeloma cells are exposed to polyethylene glycol. Now, after mixing both type of cells, we add polyethylene glycol. Polyethylene glycol, or PEG, is a chemical that facilitates fusion of adjacent plasma membranes. Adjacent plasma membranes of the lymphocytes and myeloma cells. Once they come close enough, the polyethylene glycol facilitates the fusion of both the membranes, and after fusing, they become a hybrid cell. Okay. So, we cannot say that all the cells will become hybrid cells, because there is a possibility that some cells will remain unfused. So, after a few minutes of adding polyethylene glycol, we have to remove polyethylene glycol because it is a long exposure to polyethylene glycol can be dangerous for the cells. So, after a short exposure, when we check the culture plate, it will contain 3 different types of cells. One type of cell is hybridomas, which has been formed by the fusion of plasma membranes of 2 cells, lymphocytes and myeloma cells. There can also be free myeloma cells which remain unfused, and there can also be free B lymphocytes which remain unfused. Now, as I told you, in the HAT medium, that is the same medium, the free lymphocytes will not grow after some days because they have a limited lifespan, and the myeloma cells also will not grow because they lack the HGPRT gene, and already the HAT medium has blocked the de novo synthesis pathway. So, the third step, selection of hybridomas. Now we have to select the hybridomas. So, only hybridoma cells will grow in HAT medium. The other 2 types of cells will die. This will be seen after 7 to 10 days. Once the hybridoma cells are only remaining in the HAT medium, then we have to separate those cells and we have to screen for the products. These hybridoma cells can be of different B lymphocytes, and they can be producing different categories of antibodies. So, each hybridoma cells has to be screened to see which antibody it is producing. And to screen those antibodies, we use 2 methods. One is RIA, that is radio immunoassay. Another one is ELISA, that is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. These 2 methods help us to screen the products. That means to see which kind of antibody each hybridoma cell is making. Now, once we know, then we have to clone those hybridoma cells and propagate. So, in this process, we do separate single hybrid cells. That means single hybridoma cells are separated into different microvelles or different culture plates, and then cloned. They are allowed to grow. Once only one type of hybrid cells are growing, that means they will produce only one type of antibodies. This one type of antibody is called monoclonal antibody because it is coming from the clone of a single hybrid cells. And obviously, these monoclonal antibodies will be very, very specific to bind with a particular structure of antigen protein. And that's how they produce a very strong immune response. So, once we get the single hybrid cells cloned and propagated, then we should characterize the monoclonal antibody which those hybrid cells are producing. So this characterization means we have to biochemically and biophysically assess what kind of monoclonal antibody it is and against which antigen it will act, and how it will be grown on a large scale, and after growing, how or under what conditions it will be stored for a long time for our service. Okay. So all these steps are biochemical and biophysical steps which are included in characterization and storage of the monoclonal antibodies. So with this I complete the hybridoma technology. Thank you.